You know, after about stage 2 of this race, I was really prepared to just be mad about this race's existence. It was rough to watch in the first two stages, but that final stage, it almost completely redeemed the race. It was very fun at the end. Atlanta Motor Speedway, its third ever race as a super speedway, and this was the best one, I would say. Now, once again, the first two stages were rough. Single file, not much happened. Logano dominated. I mean, if you looked at the stats and saw Atlanta Motor Speedway and went back 5 years, you would have thought that Joey Logano won this race by 15 seconds, led the race the whole time, swept the stages, whatever. While he did lead a majority of the laps, it's a super speedway still, and he had to make a last lap pass to win this race. Joey Logano, one of the best super speedway racers out there. It's been a while since he's won at a super speedway. Today, he gets it done, and he had to beat his old teammate to do it. Brad Keselowski was looking for his first ever win with RFK Racing as a co-owner. Came up just short, led a lot in the final stage, was side-by-side with Logano for a good bit, but that's what made that final stage so good. The first two stages, as I've said multiple times now, were rough, boring. Nothing happened except for Bubba Wallace spun, and I think maybe one of the wrecks happened there when Kevin Harvick wrecked out of the lead. But other than that, not much happened. Whereas the third stage, we had a crash with Eric Almirola blowing out a tire in front of the field. But it was great. 2-wide racing, 3-wide racing, and it was clean for the most part. Other than the Eric Almirola blown tire, I can't think of any other big crashes happening in that third stage, unless that Harvick crash was in the third stage. But it was clean. We've seen cleaner super speedway racing in the next gen car. Look at Talladega last fall. One wreck maybe, and it was on like lap 30, 40 or so. Racing to the checkered flag, there was 25, 30 cars up there in that lead pack, and there was no wreck at the line. So we've seen some glances of cleaner super speedway racing in the next gen car, and the last stage of this race at Atlanta showed it. I still have mixed feelings on Atlanta being a super speedway. I'm not going to lie to you. Watching Atlanta and seeing them as a pack is still weird to me. It's going to take a lot of time for me to transition mentally as like, oh, Atlanta's not a regular racetrack anymore. It's not a speedway anymore. It's a super speedway like Talladega and Daytona. Like, it still hasn't clicked for me. It's just weird. It's still weird. I don't think of it. I always think of it as Gordon versus Johnson 2011. That battle between Keselowski and Larson in 17 for the win. You know, I don't think of Atlanta as a super speedway, and it's still weird to turn on the TV, see the green flag drop, and see them racing in a pack. It is still weird to me. It's a little bit different than Daytona and Talladega in the terms that it's a shorter track, so there is a little bit more tire wear. They changed the pit road entry. It's now on the entrance of turn 3, so it's flat as you go onto pit road, because if you go on a green flag pit stop from the banking down, it's a little bit more tough in a pack. So they changed that, and that ended up playing a big factor. We'll talk about that later with Ryan Blaney. But this race overall, the first two stages sucked. The last stage was pretty entertaining. Atlanta is a super speedway. I'm still not 100% behind, but I can't deny I had fun watching it. It was a solid race in that third stage. But yeah, let's talk about the results. Joey Logano, the defending champion, gets his first win of the year. It's at a super speedway. It's in the Auto Trader car. Joey Logano did not win in a Shell or a Pennzoil car. What a wild time to be alive. Ever since he's joined Penske, I don't think he's ever won in a AAA, Auto Trader, or anything else. I think he's only won in Shell or Pennzoil, or both. But today, he broke maybe curse, but he wins in the Auto Trader car. Good for him. Big win for him. He was talking about how he used to race on the quarter-mile track inside Atlanta Motor Speedway, and his dad would always be there with him. So him and his dad had a cool moment on the front stretch. So really cool moment for Joey Logano to get himself a win at Atlanta, somewhere where he's raced before back in his earlier years. And something cool for him and his dad, his family. So really cool to see that for Logano. He locked himself into the playoffs. He's the first non-Chevy driver to win this year, so that's big for them. Ford really dominated this weekend. 9 of the top 10 spots in qualifying, I think. Logano led the most laps, won a stage. Cindric won the other stage. Logano wins the race. Brad Keselowski second. So Ford really dominated this weekend. As I just said, Brad Keselowski finishes second. Oh, so close to his first win with RFK. And this was really peak Brad Keselowski. Keselowski's very well known for his super speedway skills. 6 wins at Talladega, I want to say, and a win at Daytona. So he is very good at this style of racetrack. It would make sense for his first win with RFK to be at a super speedway. When he's been with RFK, his best chances at a win have been at super speedways. We saw him with speed in the Daytona 500 last year. This year, he's really good at this style of track, and RFK has given him a good car. It seemed like today was going to be the day. He was up front for the last 30, 40 laps or so. He was side by side with Logano at times, but that last lap, he blocked the bottom, and then he tried his best to block the top, just couldn't block Logano twice in one corner. He had too much speed, and he couldn't get a bump down the backstretch, so that pretty much ended the race. But heartbreaking for Brad Keselowski for sure, but you got to be optimistic. He was in the top 5, top 10 most of the day. His teammate was in the top 10 most of the day, except for his crash, obviously. So really positive day for RFK. They've had a great year so far. I think both cars are in the playoffs right now. They've led laps. They've been up front. It's been a very good year, a very good step in the right direction for RFK. So while Brad didn't win this race, I think there's a lot to be optimistic for. Third place, Christopher Bell. Good day for him. It was a rough start to the weekend. He spun out in qualifying, but he was up there most of the race, did a really good job in this race, was able to come back and finish in the top 3. Good for Christopher Bell. Fourth place, Corey LaJoie, Atlanta Super Speedway. This is his racetrack. Contended for the win last summer against Chase Elliott at Atlanta, and of course wrecked on the last lap trying to go for the lead against Elliott. And once again, he shows up late and finishes in the top 5. That's a big day for Spire, a big day for Corey LaJoie. They have been killing it this year. They don't have the top 10s. They don't have the laps led, but they've survived every race. I want to say they finished top 20 every race. And I know it's only 5 races into the season, but I think they're in the playoff picture right now. LaJoie Super Speedway Racing has always been his best thing, whether he was at Go Fast Racing, Spire. It's always fit his style. I don't know why, but it really gives him a chance to showcase his talent, and he's done a great job with it. Another top 5 for him, another great run in a super speedway. Didn't get the win, obviously, but that's a really good day for Spire and LaJoie. Fifth place, Tyler Reddick was actually questionable for today with stomach bug, was not feeling well. They had John Hunter Nemechek ready if Tyler Reddick were to not race due to his illness. He was planning on starting, but, if 5 laps in he was about to puke or something, then, throw John Hunter Nemechek in the car. But they had his seat fitted, all that stuff, but Reddick did end up finishing the race in 5th, ran up front most of the day. So tough day for Tyler Reddick, but he gets a top 5. Back-to-back top 5s for Reddick after a rough start to the year. 6th place, Denny Hamlin, good race for him. Blaney, 7th, was a couple laps down after getting a speeding penalty. Remember, with the extended pit road starting at the entrance of turn 3, you'll lose a lot of time if you get a penalty. He got a penalty, went a couple laps down. It really killed his momentum, but he was up there fighting at the end and almost completed a really big comeback. 8th place, Eric Jones had a monster last lap. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there was a video on social media of his onboard from the last lap. I swear, he made up like 10 spots. Man went insane on the last lap. He didn't have to avoid crashes. He was just slicing and dicing. Eric Jones, with a great last lap, gets up into 8th. Ty Gibbs with a 9th place finish. Really good run for him. Joe Gibbs Racing with a good day overall. 3 of their 4 cars in the top 10. Their 4th car ends up finishing in the top 10. Oh, wait. He's not there anymore. Kyle Busch, though, gets a top 10. He led a couple of laps there early on. Rallies back for a top 10. I want to say he did a penalty at some point today. I can't remember. 11th, Austin Cindric. Solid super speedway racer. He won a stage, led some laps, finishes 11th. Team Penske, a really solid day. 12th place, Noah Gragson. Good day for him. 13th, Ross Chastain. Guys, don't go after Chastain this time. A lot of people thought he bumped Harvick and wrecked him. No, he didn't. It was air. There was that much space in between them. So technically he didn't touch him. So I would not blame that on Chastain. Just how it goes sometimes. 14th, Alex Bowman. 15th, Todd Gilliland. 16th, AJ Allmendinger. 17th, Ricky Stenhouse. 18th, Josh Berry. 19th, Martin Truex Jr. 20th, Austin Dillon. 21st, Michael McDowell. 22nd, Justin Haley. 23rd, Ty Dillon. 24th, Chase Briscoe. 25th, Cody Ware. 26th, JJ Daly. 27th, Bubba Wallace. Early crash around lap 10 or so. Got some damage. was involved in one of the bigger crashes that pretty much ruined his day. 28th, Ryan Preece had engine problems all day long, way off the pace, got lapped. Bad day for him. Pretty much everyone on was in some type of wreck. Daniel Suarez, Eric Almirola, Kyle Larson. Almirola blew a tire and then collected Larson and others. William Byron, his win streak is over. 33rd, Kevin Harvick wrecked out of the lead, as I said, with Chastain. Once again, no one's fault, really, just a racing incident. Chastain was right there. Like last year when Chastain wrecked Truex at Atlanta, that was on him. He was bumping him mid-corner. You can't do that. This, Chastain never made contact. He was doing his best to stay off his bumper. Harvick just kept on getting loose, and eventually the air kind of sucked him around, and it wrecked the field. 34th, Harrison Burton. 35th, Chris Buescher. 36th, BJ McLeod. So, some guys wrecked, some guys didn't, but what would I rate this race on a scale of 1 to 10? This is a difficult one because, as I said, I'm still not 100% used to Atlanta Superspeedway. The first 2 stages were boring, but the third stage was really good, and we didn't need carnage for it. I'm going to go a 5.1 out of 10. Better than 50%. It's random, but still not used to Atlanta Superspeedway. I'm sure it'll grow on me. It's just so weird. I don't know. But let me know what you guys think of Atlanta Superspeedway, what you thought of the race today. Heartbreak for Brad Keselowski, but triumph for Joey Logano. And I'll see you guys in the next video.